Hello, everyone. I'm Parag Prasad, business coach with Action Coach, and I just want to use a sporting analogy with you today. So, imagine you're watching or even playing your favorite sport, and imagine that scenario with no scoreboard. What would that actually be like? Well, pretty pointless, probably, because no one would know who's winning and who's losing. And so it's a question I ask business owners all the time. Do you actually have a scoreboard in your business? Do you really know the score? Do you know if you're winning or losing? Do you know what's driving that performance? Because just think about this for a second. If all you know is your revenue and your cash in the bank, that's an incredibly risky level of knowledge because they are outcomes. They tell you basically if you're winning or losing, but what they don't tell you is specifically what areas of your business that you can focus on and improve in order to get better outcomes, in order to improve revenue and cash flow. So I'll give you an example of how this works. And I use a sporting analogy. And I'm a big cricket fan, actually. So cricket, just like any professional sport these days, has huge amounts of data available, far more than in the past. And apologies for any of you who are not cricket fans, but this analogy applies no matter what sport you're following. And in cricket, for example, you've got data now on how fast the ball's being bowled, where it's landing, how well that bowler's doing for the batsman, how quickly are they scoring, how many boundaries they're hitting, how many dot balls, i.e. how many balls are they not scoring off, all this reams of data, even where batsmen are hitting the ball. There's all this data now in professional sport. And really what I want you to think about is why. Why is that the case? Because professional athletes understand this. They understand that with more and more data, they can use that data to analyze their performance, and they can use that data to analyze how they can improve. Where specifically do they need to focus in order to improve their performance? And this has been a massive evolution over the last 2 decades. And they understand that actually data represents their own competitive advantage. And this is well known in sport now, and it's the same in business. So it's absolutely critical to have data that's just more than just your revenue and cash in bank. And accounting software has helped greatly with this in recent years, and it's been a great start. So systems like Xero and other software like that can be really useful, and that will tell you things like your profit and loss account information and things like that. And by the way, if you don't know much about software or you've got it but you don't really use it or know how to, please ask your accountants. Push them on it as well, because I feel it's their job to help you with this stuff, and they need to be savvy to the digital world these days. So they can help you. But is the data that's coming out of your accounting software enough? And my simple answer is no, it's not enough. So what else as a business owner do you really need to know in order to truly understand the performance of your business? And first and foremost, it's all about cash and cash flow. And I'm sure some of you have seen this, have heard this expression: turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is king. And it's absolutely the case, of course. And every business owner needs to understand their cash position, not just what's in the bank now, but what their forecasted cash flow will be in future. So every business owner needs a cash flow forecast, because that forecast effectively serves as an early warning system for your business. It tells you when there may be some bumps in the road in future where your cash may become very tight. On the flip side of that, it will also show you when there's more money in your business, so that you can actually just know when you can choose to invest. invest in the business, invest in people and more hiring, and invest in marketing and all those things to grow your business. So the cash flow forecast is an absolute essential for me, and it also helps reduce the stress and uncertainty around cash and cash flow. So that's an absolute critical for me, a must-have. Another big one, especially for the engineering communities, is profit per contract or profit per job, or even as one of my engineering clients told me this morning, he's now tracking profit per employee. These are all really important stats to measure whether the work you're doing is profitable in the first place. Another key area, really critical area of data in your business is to look at some of the business development data in your business, and which one of those stats could you be measuring. And it's something we get all of our clients when we're coaching them to put in place in their business, and we have a system for this, and we call this our 5-way system. And as the title implies, there are 5 key areas that we work with to help practice owners grow their business. And those are the 5 areas there: the number of leads, the sales conversion rate percentage, number of transactions, i.e. how much repeat business do you get, your average sale value per transaction, and your profit margin, your percentage profit margin. And so those are the 5 areas that we focus on, and the 5 metrics that we coach people to measure. And I've just put some fictitious numbers in there so you can see how these numbers all come together. And our goal as coaches is to help business owners to grow each one of those numbers in their business over the course of each year of coaching. And I'm just showing you here what happens if those numbers just went up by 10% each. And what you can see there is there's a compounding impact, because if you look at the turnover figure and the profit figure, turnover has actually gone up by almost £100,000. It's actually a 46% increase in turnover. And if you look at the profit number, that's actually a 61% increase. So both of those numbers have increased very impressively on the back of just 10% improvements in each area. So that's what we're doing with our clients, is we're coaching them to put in place a number of strategies to improve each of those areas. But we can only improve what we know. And so we have to measure this stuff in the first place. And I've always said it's my goal from coaching anyone is that within a year, they should have all this business development data in place and known in their business, and be actively tracking this stuff. Because you can't improve something if you don't know what the figure is. What gets measured gets managed. What gets measured gets done. So there's just some examples of some of the metrics that you could be measuring in your practice that goes beyond just revenue and cash in bank. And there may be others as well that are entirely relevant to you. Now, what I want to ask you then is, what's the risk to you from having lack of data in your business? Because if you don't have that data, then you're relying effectively on gut feel and emotion on which to make important decisions. And that is an incredibly dangerous strategy. Just to give you an example, I often ask people, well, is your marketing working? And often they'll give me their opinion. Yeah, I think it's working. Well, how do you know? What have you actually measured? Do you know how many leads you're generating? Do you know ultimately what the return on investment on your marketing time and money is? In other words, for every £1 out, how much money have you made as a return in terms of profit back to your business? I had a client once, she was investing, I don't know, £10,000-15,000 in advertising that year. And I asked her, is it working? And she said, yeah, I've got 2 clients out of it. And I said, okay, well, but are you actually generating income, surplus income and profit from that investment in marketing? Well, have you measured that? And she said no. So I got her to measure it, and what transpired was that £15,000 that was going out was only returning £5,000 to her in profit. And in other words, she'd got a really, really nasty shock. So another example of this could be around team member productivity. How do you know if they're doing a good job? Again, how is that measured? Because if it's not measured, it's going to be based on gut feel and emotion. And that causes business owners to make some really poor decisions. And I still remember coaching a client many years ago, and he had a team of 25, 30, and they were loyal as he described them. They were loyal, he liked his team, they were always really busy, and unfortunately, he didn't know whether they were actually productive or not. And this busyness was actually masking a lot of other issues. And those issues could be things like, well, they're busy because they're over servicing, maybe they're making errors, they're unfocused, taking too many breaks, they're just bad time managers. And certainly there was a lot of that going on with this client. And to put it frankly, he got fooled. He got well and truly fooled. And it was only when he started to measure productivity that he realized that he thought they were doing a good job. And actually, the reality was very different. And he didn't know this. He'd been in business for 21 years and he didn't know this until he started measuring productivity and realizing what was actually going on. And he was able to actually replace a lot of his team because they actually left. As soon as he started measuring these things, they left, and he was able to replace them with far more focused and productive people. And it completely changed the way he ran his business and significantly reduced the number of hours he was working, actually. So, yeah, I really wanted to emphasize those two examples of the danger of making emotional decisions rather than based on data. I know it's not everyone's favorite topic to gather the data and have that and look at that, but it is clearly very critical for the way you make good decisions in your business. So just to finish up, as with all of my talks that I've given to the iStruct and for other organizations, please take action from the points I've been discussing. So please take a note of at least one thing that you could try in your business straight away and actually improve what you're doing. Also, for those of you coming to my live workshops later in 2020 and 2021, I'll of course help you a lot more on these topics and we can go a lot more deeply into those. I look forward to seeing you then.